Not every knot needs your hands to loosen it. Some untie themselves when you finally let go. Before we begin, take one slow breath in and let it go. Welcome to Sleepy Zen Story. I'm glad you're here, wherever here is for you tonight. I wonder, where in the world are you listening from right now? Maybe a quiet city apartment, the hum of a fan nearby. Maybe a rural home where the night outside is wide and dark. Maybe somewhere still warm from the day, or somewhere cool where you've pulled the blanket just a little higher. And what time is it for you? Is it late? That perfect kind of late, when the world has gone quiet and the day has finally released you? Or is it the middle of the night and sleep has been playing hide and seek? Whatever time it is, you're here now, and that's enough. If you'd like to be part of this little corner of stillness, you can find more stories, more quiet nights, more gentle journeys by subscribing to Sleepy Zen Story. But for now, let that thought drift by like a leaf on water. We don't need it tonight. Tonight, we only need this breath, this moment, this story. Find your position. Let your body sink just a little more into whatever is holding you right now. Notice the weight of your arms, the softness behind your knees, the rise and fall of your chest. You don't have to fix anything tonight. You don't have to solve anything. The knots of the day can wait. There was once a small village that sat at the edge of a wide, slow river. The river didn't rush. It didn't argue with the rocks it passed. It simply moved. It had always moved, and it would continue moving long after anyone had stopped watching. In this village, there lived an old ferryman. His name doesn't matter much. Names are like clothes, useful during the day, but something we tend to slip off before sleep. What mattered was his hands. His hands knew rope the way a musician knows silence, the space between the notes. Every morning he would untie the old wooden ferry from the dock. Every evening he would tie it back. Tie and untie, untie and tie. For 30 years he had done this, and for 30 years there had never been a problem. Until one autumn evening, when the moon was hanging low and full over the river, the ferryman reached for the rope at the end of the day and found something strange. The rope was already free. The knot he had tied himself that very morning, had come undone, all on its own.
Now, the ferryman was a practical man. Practical men do not like mysteries. Practical men prefer explanations. So he stood there, rope in hand, moon on water, and his mind began to do what minds do when they are not given an answer. It began to worry. Did someone tamper with it? Did the wood swell? Was the knot weak? Had it always been weak? How many times had he crossed with passengers trusting that knot? What if it had come undone in the middle of the river? What if? The what-ifs are hungry things. Feed them once, and they multiply. You know this, don't you? That particular kind of tiredness, not from the body, but from the spinning, from the rehearsing of problems that haven't happened yet, from carrying the weight of 10 tomorrows when tonight hasn't even finished. The ferryman sat at the dock for a long time that night, rope in his lap, moon in the water, mind going in circles. Eventually, he heard footsteps on the dock behind him. Slow footsteps, deliberate, the kind that belong to someone who has stopped being in a hurry a long time ago. It was an old woman from the edge of the village. She was the kind of person people called wise without being able to explain exactly why, except that when she spoke, you felt less tangled. She sat beside the ferryman without being invited. Truly wise people rarely wait to be invited. She looked at the rope, she looked at the moon, and then she said, "So the knot untied itself." "Yes," said the ferryman, "and I don't understand how." She said. Then she was quiet for a while. The river kept moving.
Finally, she said, "Did the ferry drift away?" The ferryman looked at the boat, safe and still at the dock. "No," he admitted. "Then the knot did exactly what was needed," she said. "It held when it needed to hold, and it released when holding was no longer required." The ferryman frowned. "But how do I know it won't fail again?" She turned to look at him for the first time. "You don't," she said. "You never did. You never did. None of us ever did. We just forgot that we never did. We built the illusion of certainty so carefully, knot by knot, plan by plan, lock by lock, and then were startled when something slipped anyway, when the meeting didn't go as rehearsed, when the relationship changed, when the plan you had trusted completely, quietly untied itself. Breathe. Just breathe for a moment. In through the nose slowly, and out through the mouth, like releasing something you've been holding all day. Let your shoulders fall. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands open. The old woman stood and walked to the very edge of the dock. She put her bare feet in the water. The river didn't care. It moved around her feet the way it moved around every rock, every root, every fallen branch that had ever landed in it. No argument, no resistance, just continuation. "The river," she said, "ties no knots. It makes no promises it cannot keep. It simply follows the shape of what is, and it always arrives." The ferryman watched the moonlight shift on the water. "But don't I need to know how the knot came undone?" he asked, "so I can prevent it?" She smiled, not unkindly. "You can spend the night asking how, or," she paused, "you can spend the night sleeping." And something in those words, so simple, so direct, loosened something in the ferryman's chest. Not an answer, not an explanation, just permission. Permission to stop. Permission to not know. Permission to let tonight be tonight, and let morning handle tomorrow. He looked at the rope in his hands, and slowly he set it down. The rope coiled gently against the dock, at rest, at ease, untied. How many knots are you still holding? Not ropes, but thoughts. The conversation you should have had differently. The email you still need to write. The thing you said and wished you hadn't. The thing you didn't say and wished you had. All of it real, all of it valid, but none of it requiring your hands right now. Right now, your only job is to breathe and rest and trust that some knots
are already loosening on their own.
The old woman walked back up the dock toward the village. Her footprints left small wet marks on the wood, then faded. The ferryman sat a while longer. The moon moved slowly across the water, the way the moon always moves, without asking permission, without explaining its path. Somewhere in the reeds a frog called once, then silence. A night bird passed overhead, a shadow across the silver water. A fish turned somewhere deep below, and the ferryman breathed, in and out, in and out. The world was still turning, the river was still moving. Everything that needed to be held was being held, not by him, not tonight, by something older and quieter and far more patient than worry. Your body knows how to sleep. It has always known. Long before you learned to worry, you knew how to surrender to the dark. You were small once, and someone held the night for you. Let something hold it for you now. The breath, the quiet, the weight of your own body, which has carried you faithfully through this entire day and only asks now to be laid down. So lay it down. Lay it all down. Feel the place where your body meets the surface beneath you. Notice how it holds you. No effort required from you. Just receiving. Just rest. Your eyes are heavy, and that's right. Your breath is slow, and that's right. Your thoughts are beginning to blur at the edges, like reflections on moving water, and that is right. Let them blur. Let them drift. You don't need to catch them tonight. In the morning, the ferryman returned to the dock. He picked up the rope. He tied the knot, and this time, for the first time in a long time, he noticed how it felt, the rough texture of the hemp, the warmth the rope had kept from the early sun, the quiet satisfaction of a simple thing done simply. He smiled, not because he had solved anything, not because he had found the explanation he'd been looking for, but because he had slept. He had let the night be the night, and the morning had come anyway, as it always does, as it always will, whether we help it or not. There is nothing left for you to do tonight. The knots you were carrying today are resting now. Not solved, not gone, but resting. And so can you. Let your breathing slow even more. Let the space between each breath grow just a little wider, like the river between two banks, gentle, wide, unending. You are safe. You are held. You are allowed to disappear into this quiet. If a thought comes, a reminder, a worry, a name, simply notice it, like watching a boat pass on the river. You don't have to climb aboard. You can stay on the bank, still, quiet, watching it move past, until it is gone,
and the water is smooth again.
The moon is still crossing the sky. The river is still flowing. The rope lies quiet on the dock. And somewhere in a small village at the edge of a wide, slow river, a ferryman is sleeping. Not because he found all the answers, not because the world stopped needing things from him, but because he understood, just for tonight, that some things untie themselves when we stop pulling. May your own knots soften in the night. May your hands open. May your breath carry you down to somewhere deep and quiet and still. And may you wake tomorrow with just a little more room in your chest, just a little more space between one thought and the next, just a little more trust that you are moving like the river in the right direction, even when you cannot see where it leads. Sleep now. You've done enough. You are enough. Good night from Sleepy Zen Story.